Hello and welcome back to What Steven Reads. My name is Steven. Welcome back. Today is going to be about what I read, what I want to read next, and some book recommendations for the spooky season. Halloween is next Friday, I believe. So I have a couple of suggestions. Things I've mentioned before in shorts, but now I have them in one video. And just a quick notice. I changed my name on Instagram to reflect this channel. So if you want, go check me out on Instagram, What Steven Reads, Steven with a PH. I'd appreciate a follow on there if you can. If you can't, no big deal. My TBR Tree went up on, I believe, Friday. Did not do as well as I thought it would. So if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. It's basically a system of picking out books to read that have been on my list for a long time, books that I think that I really should get to. Classics, a couple of guilty pleasure books, things like that. So it's on there if you want to see it. So books that I finished reading this week, during the week, a little bit before that. One was Bookshops and Bonedust, which was the sequel to Legends in Latte by Travis Baldree. And no need to get into this book too much. I don't want this channel to be focused on cozy books. I know I said I want to talk about everything I read, but I think that book's been around the watch list for people, and people have talked about it. It was a nice, cozy read. I don't think it's going to impact your life in any way or shape or form, but it was a nice book to read before bed. And sometimes I question, am I wasting time by reading books like this? And the answer is no. I tend to question things like that. Oh, there's so many great novels to read. Should I just skip over the cozy books or a silly mystery or a silly, I put in quotes because some people think they are silly. I don't. I have read them. I enjoy them. And there's the answer. If you enjoy reading them, go right ahead and enjoy them. I especially love a cozy book before I go to bed, and Bookshops and Bonedust definitely was that book. So I liked it. So check out the prequel story about Viv, the main character, in Bookshops and Bonedust. And if you haven't read Legends and Lattes yet, I do recommend that as well. I am making slow progress on The Stand by Stephen King. It's just been a slow go. I've been trying to catch up on other things, but the few pages that I did read since the initial visit to the book, I'm enjoying. It seems like there's something going on every single page, every single chapter. I know that people say that Stephen King is long-winded, but I haven't gotten to that point yet, and I'm sure I will have some frustrations after a while of, who are these people? Why are they in the book? They have nothing to do with anything else. So we'll see how that goes. And then I finished just yesterday. Today is Friday. I finished this yesterday, Thursday, and this video is going up on Sunday. Ilana Masad's Beings. And I really enjoyed this book. Now, just a quick note about the title, Beings. The title of this book is very polysemous because it's beings where you think, oh, this is definitely a science fiction book, but Beings really is about the characters, the four main characters in this book. And that's what this book is about. If you're afraid, not afraid, but if you're just like, oh, that's a science fiction book about UFOs and alien abductions, I'm not going to be interested in that. And that is the reason why I grabbed it. But this is definitely litfic with a little bit of science fiction in it. It basically tells the story from an archivist who is writing the story about the couple, I think in 1961, that supposedly was abducted by aliens. And they were making the rounds back then, going on tours. A book was written about them, which I did run out to buy, called The Interrupted Journey by John G. Fuller. And he's the person who, he's mentioned in the book as well. So it's about them, and the main character is an archivist who is a non-binary character, and you never really learn. They actually block out the name when the character's talking to the mother, whether or not they were born female or male, so that's never answered, and it's not really important because you're getting to know the current character of the archivist. And they are writing the story about the couple that was abducted. And so you get a fictionalized version of the couple, and their story and the anxieties they went through. And you're also getting to read letters that the archivist is doing research on. And as a young woman who left her hometown to Boston, and she basically fled because the mother just wasn't having it. And she wound up leaving her hometown and fleeing to Boston. And she's basically setting her new journey as just living her own truth. And that's what this book is about. It's about people and the relationships. There's letters going from the Boston character to this girl that she was in love with, and the girl stops writing back to her, and she's sad and she's alone, but then she starts to make some new friends. And she's a writer in the novel. She writes science fiction novels. You hear about the prejudices against female writers back in the early 1960s. And I just thought it was a great literary fiction novel to read. So don't be dismayed by the cover and the title being, because this is way beyond a science fiction novel. It just has sci-fi elements to it. And, there are a couple of scenes early on talking about the abduction that could be a little bit creepy. But this is no horror, this is no science fiction, and I definitely think you should check out this book. Definitely under the radar. I did see it in Barnes & Noble. I see hardly any reviews online from Goodreads and Storygraph, and I definitely think it's worth checking out and getting noticed a little bit more. So I definitely appreciate a good under the radar novel, Beans. So that's as far as the books that I did read, and I may get to the Interrupted Journey. I'm kind of curious to read the original story that this man wrote with the couple. Now, my next book, I'm going to pick a book from the TBR Tree at the end of the video, but a couple of newer books I do want to read just because it is that Halloween spooky season. One is Widow's Point, The Complete Haunting, a novel by Richard Chismar and W.H. Chismar. They are a father and son writing team, and the description sounds creepy. It's about a lighthouse. Sure, it's haunted, and there's some really great blurbs in here. There's a blurb from Stephen King, and it says, "Creepy as hell and totally original. The perfect scary story for a dark and stormy night, as long as the lights don't go out." So I'm excited to try this out. This one's a signed edition from Barnes & Noble, but I don't even know who these authors are, so it doesn't really mean anything to me if it's signed or not. There's Widow's Point. And then the other book I bought, The Last Spirits of Manhattan by John A. McDermott. And really cool 1950s, early 60s cover there. Basically, the story is Alfred Hitchcock is throwing a party at a haunted mansion in New York City. And that just sounds fantastic to me. Sounds like a fun ride, and I hope it lives up to the description, but we shall see. So if you're in the mood for a little bit of a spooky book, check out that. Now for some book recommendations for this spooky season, which is coming to an end, and I'm sure you can squeeze in one book this week to read. One is very old, Brian Lumley's The House of Doors. Again, this is old. I'm working on 2 years of reading to get recommendations for you. So the list is not extensive, but I do want to show you something that's from a long time ago. This book was creepy. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Cube, where people are put in this giant cube moving from one space into another. It's very eerie, very disturbing, and that's basically what this book was. Alien ship is in orbit, and this structure is placed on the Earth, and it's basically like a big fortress, and a bunch of humans are captured inside of it, and they have to make their way out. Found it very cool at the time when I was reading this, so look it up online. If you can't get it in a store, which I don't think you can anymore, maybe in the library or a PDF somewhere or on a Kindle. I have no idea, but I definitely enjoyed it. There is a sequel, which I never read. Then for some Gothic horror, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I think this is the perfect time to read this book, basically about a man who inadvertently wishes to never grow old. And as this friend of his is painting a portrait of him, that's when the spell is invoked, and everything that Dorian Gray does that is bad gets reflected in the painting. And he winds up staying a perfectly handsome young man of probably about 21, 22 years old for the whole entire book. So yeah, he basically inadvertently made a deal with the devil. And I love stories like that. Who was listening to him? That's up to a question that you may be able to figure out. I think that I kind of realize who was listening to this wish of his. But yeah, Picture Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And then a book that I recommended last week, Shirley Jackson, The Haunting of Hill House. Check that out. You can check the video where I talked about this. There's a shorts if you want to get through it really fast. But basically, there's a scientist doing research at Hill House, which had a very disturbing history ever since it was constructed. And he invites a young woman who was part of some sort of creepy happening in the house that she grew up in. Another woman has like some psychic abilities, and then a young man who is the future heir to inherit the house. And definitely a great story. Characters I found were pretty dynamic within the confines of this house. The doctor's wife, she is abominable and hilarious at the same time. So check that out. Another book that you can find in a shorts video of mine is John Saul's The Blackstone Chronicles. Very eerie, very gothic as well. Basically, there was an asylum that was built in the 1880s, and it was not being knocked down, and all this evil spirit came out of the house, and everyone in the neighborhood receives a gift. And all these stories are linked together. Some are just sad, disturbing stories, definitely eerie, creepy vibes, and I enjoyed it. Again, another book that I don't know if you can get a new copy. You might be able to get a digital copy of it. The Blackstone Chronicles by John Saul. And then another shorts video that I had out, The Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. And this is another gothic vampire story. The vampires in this are very primordial. They're not, handsome and beautiful vampires and hiding from society. These are more creature-like, and it takes place in Mexico. And it starts off with two, I don't know if they're children or teenagers, but they're very fond of each other. And the one young girl who is of higher status in this society, she gets injured or bit or something, and the young boy, he flees because he just knows he's going to get blamed for this, and he had nothing to do with it. And then they meet up when they are adults, and they basically encounter the vampires again, and it's also a little bit of a love story. So I definitely check out Vampires of El Norte. And beautiful cover. I know I keep saying it, but it really is a beautiful cover. And then finally, a book that I think is appropriate for this time, The Star and the Strange Moon by Constance Sayers. Another book under the radar. When I bought it, I still think it is. This book, when I bought it, the cover caught me, the name caught me, and then the description caught me. Basically about an actress in the early 60s, up-and-coming young actress. She disappears, and no one ever finds out what happened to her. And then you jump to current time, and there's a young boy with his mother, and the mother sees a photo of said actress. Her name is Gemma. And she just starts flipping out. And for whatever reason, the son becomes obsessed with trying to find out what happened to Gemma. And at first I just thought this was a fantasy novel, but this has a demon element to it. And that's why I think it's appropriate for this time of year. She basically disappears into the movie. I'm not giving that away. That's part of the description of the book. And, once he starts looking for her, he finds these clues because the movie that she got trapped in gets re-released, say, every 10 years, and there's a new scene with her because her life is moving on in this world. And it's very disturbing. There's scenes where they put these masks on, and you could feel through her writing the eerie feeling that the character feels in putting this mask on. And it just feels really dark and ominous, and I think it's a fantastic story. I think Constance Sayers did a great job writing it. I really enjoyed her writing, and I think you should check it out. Star and the Strange Moon. This was out, I'm going to say 2 years ago, so it is out on paperback now. All right, so now I'm going to pick a bowl from the TBR Tree. So I'm going to go get it. All right, so here's my priority or TBR Tree, whatever you want to call it. The video is up there if you want to check it out. Me crumpling up all these pieces of tissue paper with the names of books and just basically rambling on and talking to you. So if you're into that, check out that video. So I'm going to pick a bowl and ornament, whatever the hell you want to call them. And this is a book that I've been meaning to get to for a long time, and I have not, and I'd like to get to it. Keep in mind, I'm also reading The Stand, and I do want to pick one of these two books that I mentioned a few minutes ago. So I will try and start this book. And listen, if I put one book down and wait a little bit, that's not a problem. So I'm going to go for this one that's hiding in here with the red tissue paper. Let's move the tree out of the way. Let's not get that on the floor because that would totally suck. All right. Oh, it's in the shot. All right. Let's see which one this is. Take the hook off, or no, just pop it open. That's cool. And my next major book that I've been dying to get to for a long time, but I haven't, is, let's see if I can actually read this, put my glasses on. I hope it's not a thick book, but we'll see. The Savage Detectives. That's actually a more new book that I purchased recently. So the writing is very sloppy, but that does say The Savage Detectives, which I have. Do I have it reachable? Where'd it go? It's somewhere. Well, it's in there somewhere. So The Savage Detectives by Roberto Bolaño, I believe. And that'll be my next book. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And leave any comments. And also I wanted to mention I'm doing a book haul for Friday. And I had asked on YouTube, the community section, do you prefer me to show you new books I've bought in the current video I'm making, or just to have a dedicated book haul? And the majority of you all said to do a book haul video. And let's see if I can just jump to that really quick. Let's see, view my channel. I don't know if there's an easier way to get to these things, but let's see. Okay, so 64% said, well, there's only 11 votes, but 64% said dedicated book haul video. 36% said add the book haul to a vlog or reading update video. So I am going to go with doing a book haul video, which will be out on Friday, and they're all behind me. There's a whole bunch. It's been getting out of hand, and maybe because I have the YouTube channel now that I'm buying a little bit more. I don't know. But yeah, that's coming up Friday. Please like and subscribe. I already said that probably. I apologize. And definitely check out my Instagram, What Stephen Reads, Stephen with a PH, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.